Hi, welcome back to Chat and Tales with Jen. Just an update to yesterday as far as the illness impacts. It's carried on to today. I I've lost track of the past 12 hours. I don't know really what I've done. Um, Husband told me I slept a lot. There seems to be a vague memory of him saying, I'm home from work, but I know that that's not true because of the time of day it is and was when I woke up. Um, I woke up to my cat walking across me, which she's trying to wake me up. She'll make herself heavy. She'll walk across and like push her feet into me, and I gotta set this phone down. So, and then I felt her like licking my lower leg, my shin. So I woke up to see what she needed. And I looked out towards the window and still light coming through. So then I immediately start wondering, what time is it? What day of the week is it? Nothing seems real. Describing how I felt, nothing seemed real at the time. Am I still sleeping? Am I awake? So I stood up, stretched, actually thinking, do I need to use the restroom? Um, what I mean by that is not really feeling any sensations from my body or my body speaking to me. Um, Not feeling anything, not feeling tired, not feeling anything. So, seriously, just thinking. And so as I walked out of here into the kitchen, I'm looking around, trying to visually gauge where I'm at, what I'm doing, what's going on. And I look and I hear, look towards the living room, and then I hear the TV going in there. So then I think, on top of my other questions about what day and time it is well, Mike must be home because I remember him saying, I'm home. Well, there's nobody sitting out there. The TV is on. And I think, well, did he go to the laundry room? No, we have laundry here now. Um, so what I'm getting at is you can see how disorienting and confusing mental illness can be, depending on what type you have. And some of us don't exactly fit into uh, a category, as far as you're this or you're that. Sometimes we have shades of this or shades of that. Um, as I've mentioned with my brush of schizophrenia, that's kind of what's coming through right now, in my opinion. And I know that I can't always trust my opinion or my viewpoint, so I'm talking about it, and I will look it up if it really bothers me. But what I mean by schizophrenia is, um, not being fully aware of my surroundings or what's going on. Um, yeah, that's and having the false memory that I was having that I wasn't aware of. And what it was well, let me take this back. I looked at the clock. It was 5:30 when I got up. And so then my mind thinks, is it 5:30 in the morning because of the daylight thing? Then I remember, no, it's not getting light until later now. And there's like this whole chain of things that I go through, and those are tools that have been instilled by my psychotherapist and myself to keep me on track. And it's so important for anybody if you start feeling any sort of different way or that's not familiar to you, just go get it checked out. It may be nothing. It may be nothing at all. You may just be having an off day. Or like Lieutenant Colombo says, a lot of these things are normal and it is part of normal. And I cannot sit and think about, is this my mental illness or is this normal? Because that actually takes away from or takes energy away from focusing on doing what I'm supposed to do. Does that make sense? Um, so today was the most disoriented day I've had in a long time. So yeah, it's happened to me before. I know at one point, a while back, years ago, um, I was up for 3 days and didn't know it. I was in total, I don't even know what to call it, mania. Um, and that's where you lose track of time. I wasn't aware of the time, any time. I was just existing for 3 days. And I don't remember what I did in those 3 days. I just remember the last day I appeared at my doctor's office. I had evidently driven myself there, but didn't really become aware of it until I was sitting in his parking lot. That's what I remember. I remember going in there, and he happened to be standing at the front desk at the moment, talking to the receptionist. And I walked past everybody in the waiting room and all of that, and he the receptionist told me that I would have to wait my turn. But when his eyes met mine, he said, I need you to come right back. And I went back there with him, and he said, what's going on? And I just broke. I just started bawling and carrying on screaming. Um, he listened. Um, and this wasn't a psychiatrist, this was my medical doctor. And then he calmly asked me, he says, when was the last time you slept? And that's when I really slowed down and I really had to focus and think, oh my God, it's been 3 days since I slept. He said, I've got something for you. And so he went and got some samples of some medication, and they are more or less a tranquilizer. And he was very adamant, and he said, I want to make sure you're understanding me. Do you hear me? Because he knew I was out of it. He said, I want you to take half of these, half of a pill, but do not take it until you are at home, probably sitting in bed or next to your bed. And I remembered that because it seemed so strange. It seemed like this was dangerous or could be dangerous. So um, I remember going home and I sat on the bed and took the pill, and I didn't wake up until 12 hours later that day. till the next day. And slowly I began feeling more regulated and stuff. So I did go back. Well, he called me the next, was it probably the day after that? So 2 days after my visit, he called me himself. He says, "How are you doing? Have you slept?" And I said, "Yes, thank you very much. I slept. I feel so much better." He said, "Okay, when you can," he says, "would you please come back here so I can see you again?" And I said, "Yeah." So I got around, got dressed in that, and I went there. And he prescribed me my first psych med, which was basically just a chill pill. It's not anything strong. It was a low dose. Uh, so a lot of people are prescribed it maybe if they have a lot of itching or trouble sleeping or just some anxiety. So that's how that's how I started on my journey. I'm sorry, I've lost something and I can't find it. Worry about it after. So that was a big step for me because when I caught something wrong, I did go to the doctor. I was in my raw self. I was yelling and crying and screaming. Um, but the key thing is the doctor listened to me. He asked me questions. Um, the fears that I had of somebody locking me up because I feel crazy or I feel out of control, afraid of what might happen to me if somebody saw me in that state. Um, it's very important for outside people, even I'm talking to you, to listen, to pay attention. If this person, and that's what I mean by if this person is not acting right, um, be sympathetic. Don't baby talk. Please don't baby talk them. I know that would have set me off. Number one, I already know something's wrong. And I guess it's my age maybe has a factor in this, but raising the pitch of your voice or talking like this is going to just send me to the moon. Um, I don't even like talking to animals that way, guys. I really don't. But I will. You've heard me talk to my cat. I'll do that now and then. And it's, I want to be heard, but I don't necessarily need a response. Or sometimes I'm just talking out loud like I am now just to get it out, to hear myself talk, to hear myself say it out loud, because in there it can change shape, it can deform itself and come out looking like something it's totally not meant to be. Um, and that's meaning words and thoughts. Thinking of, I'm gonna take my medicine now before I forget. It's later. Oh, that pop was flat and gross. So I've been sitting here doing my usual. Uh, Mike called from work about 7:30. I told him everything that I'm telling you. Um, he said, "No, I told you I was going to work at 4 o'clock. I woke you up and told you I was going to work." And that's how that's how he's got my back in a way that I've told you before. I will run something by him and say, this is what I thought you said. Did we have that conversation, or did this actually happen? And without judgment, without getting all emotional and saying, "Why do you do that to me?" or "Why do you say that?" That's not what I said. That doesn't help me either. It doesn't help himself either. He's just kind of chuckles about it, and that little chuckle, that little laugh, puts me at ease. Like, oh, it was a silly thing, or it's no big deal, kind of a thing. Not going to be judged for that. I'm not going to be called crazy or stupid or anything, like people have done to me in the past. Another bad thing or negative thing to say is, well, I've told you that 1,000 times. Why don't you get it? Um, for me, it's because sometimes the things going on inside me or dealing with, like I was dealing with yesterday and today, it overwhelms so much that you really don't think about anything else. Um, if you stub your toe, immediately all your attention's drawn to that when it hurts so bad. You can be carrying something or headed somewhere, and it's like immediately you've got to stop and deal with that. Um, that's how intense these thoughts and feelings can be. And you haven't done anything to bring them on, nothing has happened to you, but you're reacting as though something has happened. And when you're aware as I am, or when your person's aware of what's going on, but they still can't do anything about it, on top of dealing with that, they're worried about what you think of them. They're worried about what they're doing or how they look or what's going to happen to them. And so that very quickly intensifies into this huge snowball of emotions and not knowing what to do. And I guess what I'm trying to say is just be there for them. It's not like you can stop their snowball from rolling or getting bigger, but you can stand there and be silent and be like, I'm here with you and I'm not afraid of you. I know that if they're all worried people are going to run away from them and not want anything to do with them, just like that, standing there and being silent can go so far you don't even know. Um, Facial expressions matter. Try to keep your facial expressions neutral, because um, the slightest facial expression, depending on where that person is at mentally or whatever they're thinking at the time, um, can send them really quickly in one direction or another. Um, that's something, the facial expression thing is one thing I learned as a child. I've grown up with it, because I had mentally ill parents, and learning very quickly that how my facial expressions were interpreted as something totally not even close to what I was thinking or doing. Um, I'll go into that for a minute. Uh, when um, a parent was, or an older person was talking to me, I sat there with a blank stare, looking at them, and they would, the one would smack me or backhand me in the face, um, accuse me of smirking at her, or um, something along those lines. So I learned very quickly that facial expression matters. I really focused on facial expressions and what do I look like? How do I appear? Because I don't want to get hit. I don't want to aggravate or agitate this person. So if you deal with it early, if you deal with it right away. If you're the person that is even looking at people and projecting onto them, oh, they think they're so good, or they think that, or they think that, you don't actually have evidence of that, my friend, and do need to get a checkup. That's not normal. That's not productive. God brought us into a relationship. Um, we're supposed to love each other. And if we're not doing that, then we're sick. And we've all got it. There's not one person in this world that is not sick in some shape or form. So it's like I've always said, it's to the degree of which you have it. Um, I could hear someone say, oh, they just think they're so incredible and they're not. And that could be at surface level and not necessarily mean a thing, um, which has been my experience with friends, and that's been the general consensus, is that they were just making a general statement, but when actually introduced to that person, or having to be in a scenario with them or a project with them, that never being an issue, that never coming up. And so there's a difference between thinking it or having a thought and actually acting on it, is the point I'm trying to make. But carry it further than just, um, if somebody says, oh, I want to kill them, or I could just kill them, or hurt, I could just beat the crap out of them. Okay, is that mentally sick to have that thought? Maybe or maybe not. It may be just that a person's way of expressing their anger, or it could be serious. So that's the line, isn't it, between normal and mentally ill? I don't know. Is it to the degree of mental illness that they have? I don't know. Um, when someone does really bad or does you really wrong, it's probably normal to have a thought of retaliation in some way. But if we act on it, that's obviously that's a huge problem. Um, so if you're around somebody and they're saying those things about people, or she thinks this or she thinks that, and then they actually go forward with that and they confront that person and they start telling them what they think, what they feel, um, that's a problem. And as you can see all over everywhere, that's the problem, and that's why a lot of people are saying that the mental health facilities should have never been shut down. um, I don't think they should have been shut down. I know that where I grew up, the whole state shut them all down. um, Personally, I think it was a political thing. I think they wanted people out, voting and things like that. That's I've always thought that since I was a teenager when this happened. Um, as a teenager, I think I was a sophomore in high school. I don't remember, freshman or sophomore. Um, my psych class, we actually went to a state mental hospital, on a field trip to see what it was like, to see what people were like, and that state mental hospital actually closed. They shut them all down. But from what I saw in there, I thought, after they closed it, I thought, where are those people going to go? I saw some truly mentally ill people in there that were, one was sitting in a chair with their legs up, holding themselves, rocking back and forth, um, like a self soothing type thing. Another one was talking to things that weren't there, and many, many things. So if these people were let out, um, well, they were let out, and somebody doesn't know the signs of mental illness or whatever, or maybe they are themselves and they begin breeding with each other, then is that where all these delusional people are coming from? Or is it a education thing or whatever? And I'm not so much focused on that as, you know, the solution to me is get checked, get you know, if you've got a sickness of any kind and it's left gone untreated, you're just going to get sicker. Um, can you die from mental illness? I believe so. I don't know what the facts say, but I believe that. I mean, of course, if you're got depression so bad that you want to die, you're going to make it happen. That, nobody can stop that. Um, and you have choices. I mean, let's say I had cancer before, and mine was gone within 9 days of finding out and it being gone. Then I had a caregiver that had leukemia. She went through all the chemo and this, that, and the other, and she got so darn sick. She looked dead to me, so pale, so pasty. And when she was feeling better, we were talking about it, and she was talking about it had come back and what to do. And I said, well, I don't want to hurt your feelings, and I'm not living your life. I said, but this is what I would do if I was ever diagnosed with cancer again. I would do nothing. I would accept it. I would die from it or whatever. Unless somebody told me that it's just this part and we need to take it out. But if they told me I had to do chemotherapy, and I'm not about that. I'm already sick. You're gonna put more poison into me. You're gonna kill me. It's pointless to me. Um, and I'm accepting if that's the way my husband handled it. If he was sick, life's hard. Choices are hard, but when you realize that where we're going is actually so much better, why would you fight so hard to stay here? Um, so everybody has different viewpoints. And don't jump on me. I mean, I understand you wouldn't want to leave your family. I understand that your family doesn't want to lose you. I understand people need you and want you around. Um, you know, that that doesn't concern me. What concerns me is people that are mentally ill and not getting checked out. And I still don't feel right. I don't know how long it's going to take until I feel right. You could probably tell by the way I'm talking that I'm not right, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't know what time it is now, but I need to go get something to eat. I'm not hungry in the slightest, but I don't know. There's probably some. I know I've got apples and grapes and bananas in there. I'll go get some of that, or I don't know. Cheese and I did. Mike bought me some those saltine crackers, but they're not salted. And the way my stomach's feeling, I'd probably be okay with eating some of those, maybe. Um, Everything's gonna work out for our good, and I'm gonna keep making videos so you can witness the proof of how everything's gonna work out for our good, and have a happy day.